You know what I'm saying?
Aaron,
And I feel like that's what's happening.
Hey guys, thank you for joining me. It's your girl, Unique B, with Leave It on the Table. Today, I have my guys, C-Rob and Aaron, here to discuss a very, very strong, opinionated, and relevant topic at this time. Don't worry, the B's to the side, as always, off camera. Today we're going to discuss basically the recent killings, and what I also wanted to get was the opinion of two people, and those of you watching, think about how you feel, and because I also wonder if we as a community, African Americans, build our way to this, whether it's the way we portray ourselves on reality TV, how we act in public, and just some of the things that we put on social media. So guys, I know you guys literally, I can honestly say, over 10 years. Yeah. Over a decade. Aaron as well. Yeah, we even live together. So, how do you guys feel about what recently, all the slayings that have happened recently in regards to police officers, basically on both ends, the police officers, the guys who lost their lives and everything?
I think it sucks and it's not fair. I mean, if you just want to be 100% honest about it, and when you look at what's going on, these murders that are happening with us are happening on camera, right? So this is happening on camera, then we put it on social media, and the only people that are upset about these murders are black men and black women. And when you speak to other cultures and races, they're justifying why the police took the lives of these black men.
Okay, so not to cut you off, but what about the slaying of the officers in Dallas? From a guy who people had a lot to say about the officer and the guy that shot him until they found out that he was part of the army, the military. So how do you feel on that end?
You want me to be 100% honest with you?
I want you to be honest. That's what this is about.
I'm not for the killings of those officers.
Okay.
But if you want to be 100% honest, those killings are taking place because brothers and sisters are tired. We don't believe in the justice system. The justice system has failed us numerous times. Before this, if you go back to Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, my brother that was choked with the cigarettes, Sandra Bland, all these officers have gotten off. So we're not waiting on it. Some of us aren't waiting on the justice system anymore. That's just what it is. I'm sorry, people. Now, at the same time, I don't think that was the way to go. Let's not just go killing random officers. But you're dealing with people who are hurting. We fear for our lives. When I left my house the other day, while this was going on, my wife told me, she said, hey, be careful out there. And usually she says that and I don't think nothing of it. But when she told me that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This actually means something, because people that look like me are dying out there. People that look like my man out here are dying.
That's actually one thing I thought about the other day was, it's easy to look at these things on the news and, of course you're going to think, oh, that's unfortunate, that's messed up. But I feel like things are really, really heating up, not even considering the whole climate of the political arena right now. But I feel like things are really heating up just because of the fact that, you see these things on the news, like I said, and you feel like, oh, this is so unfortunate, but these things are starting to come right to our doorstep. I mean, like I said, you just talked about your wife saying, hey, be careful before you leave the house. I actually have a good friend of mine who lives in Dallas, and he's married. And he's on Facebook and he's making statuses about, how his wife is stuck downtown, and she can't get home because of everything that's going on, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a good friend of mine, so I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, like, this is really starting to come home. This is starting to really directly affect people that we know, and even the men that got killed, I'm sure they've been on social media lately, and they, saw what was happening with Sandra Bland and everyone else, and they were thinking to themselves like they were probably making hashtags too, not thinking that soon enough they would be a hashtag themselves. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are starting to come to our doorstep, and that's what I feel like this is really an important time for people to speak up, and I feel like we were talking earlier about what's kind of needed for this time,
right.
And I feel like what's needed is an intelligent and credible voice, but I feel like having conversations like the ones that we're having right now, who's to say who that person is going to be? Who's to say who our next Martin Luther King is going to be? Who's to say that? But I feel like the fact that we having these conversations right now is going to open up the door for that. I mean, people synonymize Martin Luther King with the civil rights movement, but let's not forget that most of the people that were participants in that college kids, and there was other organizations that was having these conversations that gave rise to the platform that Martin Luther King stood on, the Southern Black Leadership Conference, the Rainbow Coalition. You know what I'm saying? That like there was people that got together, and you don't know these people's names,
right.
but they were the people that decided to get together and say we need to have this conversation. And from those conversations, that's where you got your Martin Luther Kings and your Jesse Jacksons and your Al Sharptons. You know what I'm saying? For that time, the people who they were for that movement. That's where you got those people. So I feel like having conversations like this is important. It really is.
I do want to say that just as with the NAACP, we know that there are a lot of people, non-African American, white, and things in other cultures that are about standing with African Americans and knowing what they're going through. What I want to make it clear from the jump that this discussion is not pro-black, so anti-everything else. That is not where we stand. That is not what we're doing at this time. Anyone that is watching and personally knows me knows that there are so many different races in my family directly that that is not where I come from. What we are basically discussing are the people that can, as C-Rob said, justify what is going on at this time and say that it's okay because of A, B, C, and D. So, go ahead.
To make a point on what you're saying, we always talk about these black men that are victims of police excessive force, but
there are others.
It's other people's like I saw a video the other day, and I actually put the post on my page because it was a young white kid,
right?
And he was asking why he was getting pulled over, and he didn't want to get out of his car. The cop was asking him to get out of his car. He didn't want to. The dude tased him for 20 seconds, left the dude brain damage for life because he didn't want to get out of his car. And what I said about that incident was, there's a difference between taking action in order to do what you pledged to do, which was serve and protect the community,
right.
and taking action in order to prove your point and prove your authority. You know what I'm saying? So, it's definitely a race factor that plays into, these incidents happening where black men are getting killed, because we all know that people view us a little bit more threatened as more of a threat than other people. We all know that. But at the end of the day, it is an American problem. It's an American problem that there's these deadly tactics and deadly use of force that's being used in situations that are not life or death.
Right. In response to what Aaron said, I have to also keep in mind that I'm sitting here with two of the best guys, but they're also two of the best guys with no kids. So I have to, as a mother, not just to a little black boy, but also to a black girl coming up at this time. I think my word for me is that I don't know what to tell them. If you look at one of the posts that I posted on Facebook, basically said that, what do I tell my children who I've What do I tell my children who I've stated at this time that I want them to seek knowledge, not just book, not just street, but also common sense. These are the things I want them to be aware of the situation. But what do I say? The words for Sandra Glenn, the defense on the police status was, okay, she should have done as I said.
Wow.
Be quiet. You know, I just asked her to get out the car. All of the other stuff was unnecessary.
Just like people say that if our boy would have just submitted,
right,
he would still be alive.
But you
right?
also have to look at the fact that people like Cornell X at that time, Cornell said, okay, well, let me get in a police officers for the day. You know, and if you listen to the debate that they have at the end of Fox 26, I don't know if everyone else does, but I make sure to tune in because that guy on that station, what's the station? Yeah, Mac. 740. If AM radio, if you listen to him sometimes, you're like, is this guy serious? Sometimes you have to tune in, and to me that's part of education. You have to listen to 740 AM to honestly hear what they're talking about. You can't just tune in to 93.7 and 97.9 and yes ma'am and everything else and say,
thank you,
thank you so much.
That's one thing that I do like to do though is I'll listen in to the conservative channels sometimes, and like sometimes my friends will be able to be like, why are you listening to this? But I like listening to it because I want to hear what the other side is talking about.
Yeah, you got to know what you up against.
Right, I did. That's why I started like, why are you even listening to that? But it's education. I had to learn that it's education. Because guess what? What you're not tuning into, so many other people are. And they're learning and they're discussing something
Not
that
only
you're
that, they are
blind
going
to.
out there and voting.
Yeah,
they're going out there and they're taking these political positions. They're going out there and they're being your boss,
your Trump,
and your lawmakers, and your law enforcement.
your Trump supporters.
You know
That's what they listen to. That's what they get their information from.
I can't even say the Trump supporters because I also posted a video about 2 black ladies.
Oh yeah.
That go by Diamond and Silk.
Oh yeah.
That stomp for Trump. And you wonder when you hear them speak, you're a part of you. Well, I can't say you. You have to.